guys, welcome back to my channel. Moonknight. It stars Oscar Isaac, Ethan Hawke, Bay Kalamaui, and F. Murray Abraham. Just a warning before we start this episode, there may be some triggering topics that we were talking about. We are talking about abuse, and we are talking about the loss of a parent and mental health issues. Oscar Isaac stars as Steven. He works at an archaeological museum. And then as the episodes go on, we learn that he basically has a split personality named Mark. And this is honestly a story that I am not familiar with at all. I've never heard of Moonknight up until now. And so I went into watching this show not knowing what to expect. Mark apparently was a mercenary, and he made a deal with the Egyptian god Khonshu. And Khonshu uses him as his avatar to do his work in the world. And they are basically trying to stop Ethan Hawke's character, Arthur Harrow, from bringing forth another Egyptian god, Emmett'S. So Arthur used to be Khonshu's avatar in the past, and he believes that Khonshu lied to him about things, and he hates the fact that Khonshu deals out justice after someone has committed a crime. He starts following the god Emmett'S. With the use of his staff, Emmett'S judges people before they even commit any wrongdoings, and she basically weighs your heart, and if it's not balanced, then you basically die. Harrow is looking for Emmett'S tomb to release her, and Mark and Steve, along with Mark's wife Layla, they're trying to stop him, and we see them go throughout Egypt and different places trying to find out not only where her tomb is, but just to stop Harrow and his cult of people from releasing Emmett'S. However, we learn, and this is a spoiler, we see that in episode 4 when Mark finds Emmett'S statue, which she's been bound in, Harrow appears and he shoots Mark/Steve. Once he gets shot, we cut to another scene and we see that Mark is in an asylum. We see Mark sitting in a wheelchair and he's regaining consciousness. And we see that same leg chain that was on his bed in episode 1. We see this is attached to him sitting in the wheelchair. His fishbowl that he has in episode 1, we see that he has a fishbowl in the asylum. And then some of the scenes just match up to where you see, oh, okay, in the asylum it looked like this, but in the previous episodes it was this he was looking at. But we also see that Layla is a patient in the asylum, and the director of the hospital is played by Harrow, and he has a cane and he has Egyptian artifacts. And we see that, this must be where Mark is getting all of this from. He's also watching his favorite film. Harrow mentions this to Mark, and it's about basically an archaeologist who went on the same adventures that Mark has gone through in this season. Mark tries to escape, and as he's running down the hallway, he comes across a room where there's a sarcophagus, and someone is banging on the inside. When he opens it, Steve walks out. So the two of them embrace, and they decide they want to get out of here. As they're running, you see another sarcophagus where someone is banging on, but they don't go to open it. And as they're running down the hall, a door opens, and one of the episodes did give a hint that maybe there is a third personality inside of Mark, and I think that's who was in the sarcophagus. So when they open the door, they are greeted by a very friendly hippopotamus, which is actually the Egyptian deity Terawet, who's the goddess of fertility and childbirth. And that's how the episode ends. Episode 5. So this was definitely a very, I'll say, interesting episode. It definitely deviated from what we were getting from the previous 4 episodes. But we find out in this episode that Steven is the other personality and it's not Mark. I know a lot of fans really like Steven because, he's a caring guy. He's sweet and he's very quirky and people really like him, especially compared Mark, who is a mercenary, and he's rude and he's lied to his wife, and people just prefer Steven to Mark. And so we're led to believe that this is all Mark's imagination. The hippo goddess is taking them on their journey to the afterlife, and she takes both of their hearts and she's weighing them. She's trying to get the scales to balance. So she tells them that they have to basically figure out the truth in their lives in order for the scales to balance, or hopefully they will balance. And they get to go to paradise and won't get thrown overboard into the sands. And we learn how Mark's personality actually split. We see that he had a younger brother, and they went to exploring in some caves while it was raining, and it flooded, and Mark's younger brother passed away, unfortunately. And his mother completely blamed him, even though he was a kid himself. She completely turns against him, and she's very, very, very verbally abusive. We see she doesn't even want to celebrate his birthday. She doesn't speak to him, and when she does, it's very mean things that she says. And it culminates into her actually being physically abusive to him. And we learn that right before she comes into the room to beat him, that's when his personality splits into Steven. But we learn that he got that name from his favorite explorer from a movie that he loves. So whenever he got into trouble and couldn't deal with his emotions, Steven came in and everything was all perfect. He even tells Steven, he's lucky he got to grow up thinking that his mother loved him and doesn't know about all the trauma and pain that Mark has gone through. So once the truth is out there, the scales actually balance. But it's kind of too late. They've already reached the end of their journey, and so now it's time for all the lost souls that Mark killed in his life. They come onto the boat and they're trying to drag them back into the sands. And Steven gets knocked overboard and he actually gets consumed by the sands. And I know I said it before, but Oscar Isaac is just amazing. Just the emotional depth that he has with, first it was Steven, now it's with Mark. And seeing him go back and forth playing these characters in one scene, and then him dealing with the trauma that he went through as a child and the loss of his mother, and just the breakdown he has with that. It's just some really great acting. And I love seeing him on the screen because he's just a great character. But we still don't really know if this is really happening or if it still is all in Mark's mind, because they do cutaways to when Mark is on the ship and discovering these memories, that he and Steven are discovering these memories, and we cut back to Harrow talking to him, and it's like Harrow is getting in his mind, pulling these things out, and Mark is just making up this whole Egyptian goddess journey thing in his mind. So we still don't know, but we have one more episode left, and we'll definitely get a lot of answers. I'm pretty sure not everything is going to be answered. We will figure out some things and what's really going on with Harrow and with Mark. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check out my other videos. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.